Welcome, one and all. Welcome back, friends, to another video about the Panasonic. It's the first video actually about the Panasonic Lumix S9. I just want to apologize in advance because I just put some water on the stove to make a cup of tea. So when it boils, I'm going to have to step out. Now, Panasonic Lumix S9 Genius or pure unadulterated insanity. Is this Lumix? Is this the camera for fools? I've got to say, we need to talk about this camera. We need to work out what the verdict is. Now, we don't have the official stats. We don't have the spec sheet for sure. We don't even know if it's got this feature or that feature. We don't know anything about the codecs, the resolution modes. We're kind of talking blind here, but conceptually what we have is a very, very small format, full fucking frame camera for the full frame freaks. And if you look at the image, courtesy of illrumors.com, thank you, because they leaked all the information, by the way. That particular shot shows you that the lens mount consumes the entire height of the camera. So this thing is tiny. And I don't have an L mount lens, but I'm assuming it's more or less the same size as any other full frame mount lens. And I gotta say, you know, if it's basically no bigger than the back end of your average lens, that's a tiny, tiny little camera. Not particularly wide either. No big chunky grip. Thickness wise, it does have a flip out screen from what we understand. Now that adds a little to the thickness, but there's no cooling fan, so thickness is kind of average. All in all, I think it's a nicely proportioned camera. What concerns me is the price. Now, it would be too good to be true for Panasonic to put out a budget full frame. I think they're going to be marketing this to the trendy people who have the money to just buy whatever the fuck they want. On a whim, guys, on a whim, they will buy this camera. So they're saying it could be as little as $100 or $200 cheaper than the S9, than the S5 too. I don't think it's going to be quite that bad, but if this thing really is like, I don't know, 10%, 15% cheaper than the S5 Mark II, that's not enough. You don't want to be forking out almost professional level money for a kind of stripped down low-end consumer camera. Now it is full frame, but I don't see how the size of the sensor these days really adds to the cost. So what do we think? Why not, if you want a compact camera, this is the whole conundrum, why not just go for a micro four thirds setup or ASPC? That's what everyone's saying. Why not just go for micro four thirds? And if this is for vlogging, like, it's like, you know, is it meant to be a photography camera or a video camera? It doesn't have an EVF, so, but you know, is that more vital for photography or videography? Because I use it a lot for video, but also for photography. I would say maybe it suggests this is more a video camera. So what do we think about that? No EVF, video based, very compact for vlogging and content creation. Again, for vlogging, who needs full frame for vlogging? That's not serious content. There's nothing wrong with M4.3 for vlogging work. It's ideal for vlogging work, M4.3. So yeah, it's a tough one, folks. I gotta say, like, price wise, anyone who's paying up around 2 grand for a camera body only, like, you're kind of crazy. Just wait for this thing to hit the pre-owned market. I know that, like, it's really small and compact and cute, and everyone thinks that they need it. I myself was just thinking probably 6 months ago, I wish there was like kind of a cheap full frame digital camera I could just slap an adapter on and enable my entire catalogue of vintage lenses at full frame instead of running them through adapters on M4.3. Well, this is that camera. This is that camera, but no EVF. Wouldn't it be cheaper just to go back in time and buy GM1, which is even smaller? I don't know what the video specs are on the GM1. I'm guessing this thing will probably do 4K 60. I don't think it's going to, and does it crop? I'm going to say it probably doesn't crop. If this is for vlogging, they're going to eliminate crops. So it'll be 4K uncropped, hopefully. G1, I'm sure, would have just been 1080p. Probably 1080, 30 frames. And I'm just going to have a quick look. Okay, it can, yeah, so 60 interlace, so 30p. So GM1, but that's still useful for your basic content creation. The Lumix S9, 4K 60. I mean, it'll be nice. It'll be nice for vlogging. But do you want some like kind of heavy lens? And if it's not that cheap, it's you don't want to have a super expensive camera for vlogging and workhorse, content. Like not professional content creation, but like amateur content creation where you're in new situations all the time, and you could very easily drop the camera or bump the camera or damage the camera. Some people even lose their cameras. So I gotta say, price point wise, I don't know, but then again, there are people with the money. Like, I think it'll sell based on the aesthetics. It's a very nice green color. There are going to be other colors apparently. Apparently it's got a cold shoe. I'm not sure that's going to be accurate. They might leak it as a cold shoe and oh, it's a hot shoe. Wow, that's so we get a little bit more than we thought. So I'm going to say it's probably actually a hot shoe. I don't know if there's going to be a mic jack. So many content creators run independent sound systems. I'm guessing it probably doesn't have a mic jack. I don't know if we can see one in the photo anywhere. There is a top-down view of it somewhere, which is a little concerning. One of the things I hated about early digital cameras was no viewfinder. Even if it had been like a really inaccurate, not even a digital one, but just something that would roughly frame the shot for you, perhaps with some indicator lines on it, depending on zoom level. I really missed going from film camera to digital in the early days. I really missed the viewfinders. I couldn't believe that they never addressed that for so many years. And everyone was trying to tell you that, oh, it's so great having this. No, it was shit. It was always shit. Framing pictures on LCDs is horrible, especially in strong sunny daylight. So I got to say, no EVF on this is a huge fucking negative for me. I want a compact. Maybe someone else will do a compact. It doesn't have to blow the size out of the camera that much to have that. But they've gone for, I guess to be fair, like they've pared it down as much as they can. And so that's what we have to deal with. Now I want to get the top down view, but I'm not going. It's very short. It doesn't have any dials on it. Basically, it's like a very basic. It's like an on-off or video slide button for video and photo. So that's really simple. There's a record button, shutter button, and I think there's like a button that does everything else pretty through the menu system. So it's kind of minimalist. Well, Panasonic aren't known for having the most intuitive menu systems, so hopefully the menu system is as simple, and setting up whatever video mode, photo mode you want is as simple as the camera looks. That would be nice. I'm guessing this isn't going to have like high-end recording formats. I doubt there's anything. I'd be surprised if there's anything above like 4K 60. It might have 1080p, 180 or 120. It could be, with the low light performance would be interesting. Like coming from an M43 system, I would be genuinely curious about that. It should be fantastic, right? But, if you're really into pushing the videography, you probably wouldn't get this camera, would you? You get like they say the S5 II is a photo camera, but whatever. I mean, you'd get something different, I think. It's just, I don't know, is it genius? I think it'll sell well. That's what matters, right? Is the money in Panasonic's pocket. But would I respect someone for buying this camera? We'll have to see what specs are. At the moment, no, I wouldn't. I think this is a fool's camera, guys. I think this is a camera for fools. Unless it's very cheap. They could be lying about the product. Like if they're putting out the rumor, oh, so it's going to be like $300 cheaper than the S5 II, and then it turns out it's $800 cheaper. People are like, wow. Like if you could buy this camera new for 1,000 US, not 1,600, not 1,200, but 1,000 US, $999. That's the deal. $999. I'll start to give this camera some credit. You can't overcharge for a basic camera, guys. I'm going to pause it here, come back in a minute, because I'm a pro, and skip ahead. It'll just be a couple of minutes. I've got to get a cup of tea. Okay, pro break over. Pro break over. Pros like me need this camera for non-video, like for non-video YouTube videos. We just take a photo for the thumbnail and we're good. It's gotta be full frame. If it ain't full frame, I ain't buying it. Okay, we've got a nice Russian caravan cup of tea brewing here. So yeah, guys, I mean, what do people think about this thing? Looks like it's got a flash, is that on the top right? Little LED flash on there. So yeah, I like I want to like it. I want to man, it needed two things. It needed the EVF and it needed to be low price. The trouble is, like, if you shatter the myth that, see, I think full frame cameras being really expensive is bullshit. I don't think there's anything in them that fundamentally requires the price to be that high. I think it's operating off huge margins. So, does Panasonic want to, like, blow the cover off the whole full frame market and fuck the pricing and profit margin of everyone? Or do they want to kind of stick with the cartel? And, they are, you call it the L-Mount Alliance, just call it the L-Mount Cartel. Do they want to stick with the cartel and keep prices high? I'm guessing it's the latter. So, L-Mount, I mean, it is mirrorless, so you can adapt any vintage lens for this thing. Now, it's probably going to be phase detect, of course, so you'll be, it'd be really nice to have a native lens to use that phase detect. And as for this fucking F8 pancake that they're going to put out for it, what the fuck? Again, why would you buy a full frame to be running an F8 pancake? That makes no fucking sense. You got more dollars than cents if that's what you do. Don't get me wrong, like, it probably would be fun to be running around doing street photography with an F8. It's going to be, everything's going to be in focus, wide angle, compact lens, slip the whole thing in your pocket. It'd be great fun, but you don't need full frame. The full frame lets in the light or captures a lot of light. You want to have a lens that actually lets the light in. So the F8 is just a fucking what the fuck moment, It makes sense if you're already on full frame and you just want a compact lens and you don't want to go and buy an M4 III camera. But if you already have M4 III, and a lot of M4 III people are looking at this camera thinking, should I get it? That weird F8 is not gonna impress people, guys. I'm sorry. I think this camera is just, at this point, unadulterated insanity, guys. Feel free to disagree. Let's read some of the specs from, not that website. KF Concept. No mechanical shutter. I'm not an expert on what the significance of that is. But apparently, according to this website, it creates... They didn't word it very well. I think what they're trying to say is that if you don't have... I've lost where they... Actually, here it is. If you don't have a mechanical shutter, you have a problem for shooting moving objects. But they say, so there's no mechanical shutter. The shutter mechanism is not suitable for shooting moving objects. I think they're referring to the electronic shutter, but they shouldn't have put the word mechanism in that sentence. Anyway, electronic shutters have much lower flash sync speeds. So you're going to be more prone to getting blur in your flash photography. Yeah, so top view, it does have the one dial with the usual Panasonic modes, looks like 3 custom modes, shutter, aperture priority, program, manual video, S and Q, whatever that is, IA, whatever that is, pretty intelligent aperture, so I don't know. An on-off switch, it's got an exposure compensation button, always useful, and that's it. Actually, no, I take that back because it looks like the shutter button has a dial on the outside, so it does have 2 dials. Alright, so that's not so bad. So that'll probably allow you to change aperture. Hopefully it's easy to change ASA somehow. Little red record button. Yeah, very, very simple. I wonder if they'll build cages for this thing. Could be a good underwater camera, because of the compact size. You get a little underwater housing rig for it. Yeah, I don't think it's only cold shoe. I think it's going to have a hot shoe. That's my theory. And it will have IBIS apparently. There's no way they'll put it out without IBIS. So that's a positive. And just to me, it comes down to what are the video modes and price. I think we can accept it doesn't have EVF. It's not a good thing, but if you're a vlogger, like, do you want to be booked into something that has expensive lenses, and like, why not just go M4.3? I don't get it. What's wrong with M4.3? What's wrong with M4.3? I don't know, guys. I feel like this is a bit of a weird one. I think you might have to have more. Just be patient when this comes out. Don't rush into an impulse buy. Everyone's going to want to be the first one to own it and talk about it, but I think just hold on to your money. There's going to be some more Panasonic releases this year. We just need to see where the dust settles on the Lumix S9. I do like the aesthetic. I like the idea of a compact. I just hate that it doesn't have an EVF. Price, okay, price has come down over time. Okay, so we can get over the high price. We just have to wait a couple of years to get it second hand. Fine. But no EVF. Fuck. On that note, guys, I'm going to wind this one up. Thanks for watching. I want to do another one about GH5. So stay tuned.